Good afternoon, Descendants of Airdrag. Thank you for joining us as we continue our Dragon Warrior Randomizer Winter League Week 5 Marathon of Vodcast. These races took place earlier this week, but we didn't have live streams for them, so we're catching up and showing you all the action that took place as we see where the playoff results are going to fall, who is able to make into the bracket rounds here next week, and whose Winter League has unfortunately come to an end. I'm Destiny of a Dragon Warrior, joined by Velu V on Restream, Engidave, and Shahali on tracking. The runners here in Group 4 are Big Slamu, Beta, Chadbert, and Engidave. So Slamu and Beta coming in with 13 points, Chadbert and Engidave at 12 points. Remember that tentative cutoff of whether or not a player makes playoffs is somewhere in the 14 to 15 range. 15, you feel pretty good and should be guaranteed at least a tiebreaker race. 14, you're really hoping for results of other races to go your way for a shot of a tiebreaker race yourself. So first place and second place, very important in this race. Third place, Slamu or Beta gets third. They're probably still comfortable. Fourth place with just 1 point earned, however, could be the end of the road for one of these runners here. We're continuing with the same flag set. Easy stair shuffle made easy-ish. Unfortunately, not easy-ish to say. And we're off. Let's see what we start in the throne room, see what stats we start with. Our stat tracker might need a kick to start rotating. We get gold and fairy water to start with. I think those were the same starting chests in the last seed. And we just start with Radiant and Repel, so we don't have Hurt More yet to open up doors. Expect the players to grind some early Zone 0 enemies, pick up a lot of experience with the random XP and gold requirements on, but random stats off. Drakey's worth 17, and whatever Engidave took down was worth 278 experience. Heal, Hurt, and Heal More are the spells, plus a ton of stats. Chadbert gets a Slime for 34, gets off the ground. Slamu took a death back home. I assume he slamued himself into some swamp tiles, perhaps. Although we do have level up refills on this week as well, so might not be as much of a need for that. We'll see how long these players stick on the grind here at the start. Engidave already at level 7. Crits on the Magidrakey. Only worth 17. Okay, so the Magidrakey is the 17 experience enemy. I think Slamu hit level 5, Chadbert's at 4, plus this level up now at 5 as well. The levels are just going to come flying through here. Scorpion's worth 132. There's the Drakey on Engidave's screen, who indicated in chat that, yeah, that is the enemy that gives 278 experience. Chadbert hurting down a Warlock. Ooh, the Drakeys have 50% hurt more. Maybe that's what sent Slamu home. So a little bit of danger in those Drakeys, but wow, 278 experience. Can't argue with that. Chadbert gets a Drakey down, so a big jump in experience there. Slamu hits level 8. Engidave at level 9 and halfway to 10 just about. Get a feel of what kind of stats we have here in a moment. Heal More is definitely good to get early to help with survivability, not only with enemy encounters along the way of exploration, but walking through the swamp tiles that are going to deal 2 damage per step with the big swamp flag turned on this week. Slamu got DL2 breath by a magician. Okay, thanks, Beta. Need a lot of eyes on all the action to keep things straight. Slamu at 8, Chadbert at level 8, Engidave at level 9, just hit level 10. Picks up Sleep and Outside. Outside is a good spell to have to possibly dip out of caves if you encounter a big mega dungeon structure and you're like, okay, this is too much. I'm not going to spend time diving all of the grave floors, and you can just outside and continue your exploration. No one's pressing exploration just yet. Everyone being patient and knocking out these early enemies to level up a ton of experience, which is generally the strategy that players want to use with these week 5 flags. It's basically free experience for the most part, all else being equal in the beginning in most seeds, and then it's just grind up as far as you feel comfortable, decide to explore out at the right moment and begin your exploration, and use your judgments of how far you want to dive the stair shuffled caves, and do you feel comfortable taking down treasure guards that are protecting all of the quest items here. Engidave has the experience lead at the moment at level 11, halfway to level 12, although that can change at a moment's notice with how quickly experience can be found. Chadbert at about 1400, Slamu at 1900, Beta right there near Slamu with 1800 and change, so Engidave with a bit of an experience lead. Seems like Engidave saw the Drakies earlier than the other players. A little bit of encounter luck. We'll see how that balances out. It shouldn't be a big factor. Again, 1,000 experience with these types of enemies and flags. Not a deciding factor, not an advantage. Really much to speak of in the beginning. Big question is, when do we start some exploration? It looked like Engidave, yep, okay, we've got some exploration. Going to take at least a peek around against the swamp tiles, and does find a location immediately to the southeast with the disguised overworld locations with that half cave, half town. We'll have to see if it's a cave or a town. It's a cave, and it is Tablet Cave. So there's one chest with the random chest locations at the top of Tablet, and then we'll have to see where this stair takes us. That chest did not load here, and it's a dead end. Okay, so that's an easy check for Tablet Cave. Beta hit level 12. We'll see if Beta continues to grind or explores like Engidave, and with that back and forth motion is telling us that he's continuing to grind. And it looks like Engidave is going to go back and continue to knock out levels as well, after peeking around and seeing that cave with nothing to see in it. There's no open Sharlock or short Sharlock this week, so the players are going to have to find Erdrick's Token, Stones of Sunlight, and the Silver Harp. Trade in the Silver Harp for the Staff of Rain. Trade in all of those items for the Rainbow Drop to get into Sharlock's Castle. And then the Sharlock stairs are shuffled just the same as the other caves are. So could be a quick drop down to the bottom floor of Sharlock from one of the stairs, could take you right down to the basement and fight the Dragon Lord, or there could be a lot of different rooms and a massive mega dungeon structure in Sharlock. Chadbert finds a red dragon, takes a death back home, which isn't that far from where we're grinding. So Slamu and Beta at level 12. Engidave, depending on the next encounter, might be our first runner to hit level 13. Nope, Beta hits it there with that Drakey. 1 strength, 2 agility, 20 hit points, 5 magic points. So that's a big boost in HP. That was kind of the laying stat up through level 12. You see, level 12 only had a maximum of 56 hit points. You're susceptible to DL2 breath. You're going to be healing all the time in the swamp tiles. 76 hit points definitely gives you more of a cushion, and Engidave is going to use that cushion to start exploring to the north. Beta, however, does not appear to be exploring, is going to continue to grind. I wonder at what point Beta will decide to begin exploration. Do you wait until you're at full go mode for fighting the Dragon Lord? Or do you wait until hurt more to start taking down doors? Because that's a big factor as well. If you're relying on finding keys and opening doors, Engidave doesn't have hurt more, so any locations that Engidave finds where you need to open a door, he's not going to be able to do. Luckily for Engidave, the next location he finds is the town of Cole, baby, which does not require a door to check the search spot at least. You need a key to check behind the chests if any of them did spawn. There's 2 potential in Cole with the random chest locations. So let's see what's on the search spot. It's a treasure guard. Looks like Chadbert is beginning some exploration as well. We'll keep an eye on that, see if Chadbert finds any locations. And in Cole, we pick up Erdrick's token. Not immediately helpful, but one item off of the checklist. Oh, look at that NPC blocking us in the back of Cole. NPC Guillotine is not turned on this week. Engidave says, I'm not dealing with that, and immediately heads out. Beta hits level 14 and learns Hurt More, so that is a big turning point for Beta. Is right at home, uses Hurt More to open the doors in the treasury. There's 4 chests, opposite layout than standard. That's really cool. They make a diamond, and there's a treasure guard at home. This could be big for Beta. Takes down the Wraith Knight, and it's Erdrick's sword. Erdrick's sword is immediately helpful. Oh, wow. Engidave found the town of Rimalder. Chadbert's going to try the Gold Man. Does not have Hurt More, but should be able to chop it down with Heal Mores. Engidave going to pick up some organic keys here, so doesn't know when Hurt More is going to come. Going to fill up on some keys, whatever that key carry maximum is going to be. Looks like he's gotten quite a few. Looks like probably at least the stand... Oh, 8. Wow. Okay. Doors will not be a problem for Engidave. No chests in the Rimalder Inn. Beta also filling up on keys. Slamu about halfway between levels 14 and 15 and continuing to grind. Interesting choice by Slamu, continuing to grind even with Hurt More. Chadbert finds Rimalder, going to fill up on some keys. Okay, let's see how well I can keep up with the action as we have 4 players. 3 players beginning to explore Slamu, grinding another level here at the start. No wonder when Slamu is going to decide to start pushing out as well. He can check the treasury at home whenever he wants and pick up Erdrick's sword before exploring. Engidave now going to take a peek into the back of Cole. There is a treasure chest. NPC no longer blocking his path. And he's filled up with keys. No treasure guard, just an herb. Stocking up on herbs, so it looks like our herb carry is also a reasonable number. Beta finds a red dragon and finds Sharlock. Can't immediately access it, but good to know where you're going to finish. Be able to plot out your return to town setup. And finds Cantlin. So might get some gear purchases here. Chadbert's also going to check the chest in the back of Cole. More shopping potential for Beta. Has 4,800 gold. Picks up a full plate. It's got Erdrick's sword. It's got some defense. Beta in pretty good shape as far as survivability goes. Chadbert getting trolled by the NPC in the room in Cole. Wow. This would have been a time for NPC Guillotine to be turned on. Cole is doing its thing. Slamu has reached level 15 and is continuing to grind. Wow, okay. might have the logic of strategy of repel the world and go find stuff at that point, even though he has hurt more. Beta and Chadbert doing some item shopping. Engidave now makes his way back to Tantagel, and so should be checking the treasury and picking up Erdrick's sword here shortly as well. Yep, we'll have Chadbert and Engidave nearly simultaneous Wraith Knight fights for Erdrick's sword. And we're going to have a coordinates check here in a moment on Beta's screen. Will we have coordinates? How far away will they be? "48 south, 3 west. That feels reasonable. Felt like we had some area to explore to the south. I could be mistaken, so should be countable. Not too big of a problem. We haven't seen Death Necklace or Fairy Flute, however, so it may not be a required item. Curious if we have an count right away to get that check done and over with, or if we'll hold off on that and see if it actually is a required item. Chadbert sticking around near Tantagel, doing some additional grinding, as is the furthest down in experience at level 12. Meanwhile, our experienced leader, Slamu, just hit level 16, 10 power, no agility, 40 hit points, and 6 magic. Slamu's gotta start exploring now, right? Oh yeah, okay. Pops into Tantagel, presumably going to check the treasury and pick up his own Erdrick sword, so we'll be even there. Stone's Cave fine for Beta, nothing of consequence, I believe. And another location for Beta, there's the harp trade-in. So Beta picked up Silver Harp from inside Cantlin and trades it in for the Staff of Rain already. Just taking a peek at level 16 stats for Beta, saw we had some pretty good hit points, some pretty good strength. I have to take a peek at that again and see the calculation. Might be close to go mode at level 16, especially if you do a Sharlock dive and you're fighting enemies down on the way. Might get that level up refill and get up to 17. Some players almost bake in an additional level up on the way down in Sharlock, even though the Sharlock Inn is available. Slamu sees the Rainbow Drop Cave underneath home. Engidave sees Sharlock. Beta sees a new location. I don't think we've seen... Yeah, we haven't seen this yet. We have found Garenham. So, a couple of checks in Garenham. 5 total potential chests. There's not one at the inn. Yeah, Beta's gonna have to stay at the inn whether he wanted to or not, just because resources were so low, and he's 300 experience away from the level, so not in a great position to level up unless you're gonna go farm some weak enemies. 1 chest in the back of Garenham, no treasure guard, it's just gold. Slamu finds Cantlin. Might do some shopping with his 5,000 gold. And Beta goes underneath Garanham, and it is Swamp North. A couple of chests to check in here. See if he peeks at what the spike enemy is. Yup. At least to see what the spike enemy is for information, and to check the Princess Gwaelin chest. Some people leave that as a final check. Other people go out of their way to see it early in the seed. Slamu and Chadbert both in Cantlin, going to pick up their coordinates information and presumably the silver harp at the inn chest with that werewolf. Engidave finds a cave, and it is Grave. At least the top floor of Grave, which has 6 potential chests, and gets fluted. Alright, fairy flute in the top of Grave. Slamu and Chadbert doing the things in Cantlin. Engidave finds a fighter's ring. Equips that for 2 additional attack power. Beta now appears to be going through Swamp Cave. We'll see where that pops out on the other side. He knows that's not going to go into the back of Garanham. Pops out into a pile of swamp. What a surprise. Big swamp. And a red dragon sends Engidave home from Grave. Engidave not able to do any potential final chest checks on that top floor. Hopefully for Engidave's sake, there's nothing valuable in those chests that he was so close to seeing. Quick level check. Slamu is at 16, Beta's at 15, Engidave at 14, Chadbert at 13. I don't believe anyone has counted coordinates yet, not that I've noticed. We know that the fairy flute was picked up by Engidave, so flute cannot be on coordinates. So it could be, what, the stones, the token, the death necklace, or Erdrick's armor. Engidave fighting some good enemies out there, just picked up 219 experience. Okay, here's a new location, Breckenary. Not an automatic Brexit like we see in Standard. There are 2 potential chests to check. Engidave's going to buy a large shield as Slamu clears Stone's Cave. And so does Chadbert. Slamu's and Chadbert's exploration is almost right lockstep with each other. They were in Cantlin at the same time and in Stone's Cave at the same time. Okay, Engidave checking the 2 chests that spawned in Breckenary this afternoon. Or the other night when they raced this live. Nothing of consequence. Chadbert finds the harp trade-in, the Staff of Rain cave. So Chadbert picks up the Staff of Rain. It appears Slamu did as well, and I didn't catch Beta doing that. Maybe Beta did do that trade-in. 3 of the 4 runners have their Staff of Rains. And we have another sighting here for Engidave. We have Hawksness. Hawksness is the perfect representation of that half cave, half town masked overworld location sprite, right? I think Hawksness is the perfect representation for that. It's kind of half cave, kind of half town. I think it should always be represented that way. The Hawksness spike is an armored knight. It is dodging, and it has hurt more. Ooh, a hurt more does land. Takes it down. Fortunate he didn't get the miss. Engidave picks up the Stones of Sunlight from Hawksness. Meanwhile, Slamu finds Garanham. Beta finds a new location to him, Rimalder. We've already been here. We know that there is 3 empty chest locations. Beta noting here in the live chat that his logic for not doing the coordinates count immediately is because there's multiple required items outstanding, which makes complete sense. Chadbert also in Garenham. Man, Slamoo and Chadbert are just right on top of each other with their exploration. That's really interesting how that's worked out, where Slamoo stayed back at home, right? Slamoo stayed back at home and grinded all the way up to level 16. Meanwhile, Chadbert's at level 13. But their exploration has been nearly simultaneous, I guess. Chadbert does have the token, but other than that, they've been seeing all of these locations really around the same time here for the last several minutes. Slamoo does do a preemptive princess rescue. Engidave finds Swamp South. So I think that confirms one continent, although that seemed safe to assume if it hadn't been confirmed before, just because of how much we've seen without it being confirmed as 2 continents. Okay, and now Beta is doing the coordinates count. Or is just walking really slow. He's doing the coordinates count. Slamoo taking Princess Gwaelin out for an adventure, not immediately returning her back to Tantagel. Engidave confirms no princess chest. Either Beta abandoned the count, or it might have found that he needs to go around to access full south. I assume that's the case, where he got stopped from the count. Oh, picked up armor. Oh, yes, yes. Take a look at that. Hey, trackers are right on it. Thank you, folks. Okay, so Erdrick's armor picked up on the coordinates. That's going to make the big swamp much easier to walk through, because instead of losing 2 hit points each step, you'll be recovering hit points each step. Beta finds Grave. We'll see if there's anything now in the top chest that Engidave died before seeing. Engidave with an armor upgrade here, picking up half plate. Beta gets the fighter's ring and the flute. I didn't see how Chadbert died, but got sent home intentionally or otherwise. Red Dragon encounter, Beta gets away. Slamoo checking Rimuldar, there's going to be no chests there. We should see on Beta's screen the top grave chests, if there are any. Chadbert looks like he's sticking close to home and is going to grind some more levels. Should close the experience gap. There is one chest, and it's empty. Okay, so Engidave wasn't missing anything critical up there. We'll see where the stairs lead underneath here as Beta heads that direction. Time to do some dungeon exploration. Interesting difference between this race and the one that we just broadcasted for Group 3, where in that race we had multiple players spending a lot of time in the dungeons early on. We saw a lot of a mega dungeon right away. And this is the first time that we've seen a dungeon of real significance. We saw a tablet just lead to a dead end. Oh, we've got Sharlock 1, and Beta says, nope, I'm done. Done with that. Because Beta only needs one item. The Stones of Sunlight. Slamoo's still carrying Gwaelin around the world. Engidave somehow backed into one of the Sharlock floors. That Sharlock 3? Basement 3? From Mountain. Oh yeah, okay, so he's in Mountain. The stairs to the bottom right goes into Sharlock floor, which has multiple stairs and has a lot of different area to explore. Might be pausing and making some notes there. Looks like Chadbert is attempting the coordinates count now. If successful, we'll pick up Erdrick's armor. Engidave hits level 15. Beta is halfway between 15 and 16, and Chadbert is just got 14 a little bit ago, is moving up to 15. Slamu's still at 16, has about 1,500 to go until 17. Engidave making some decisions here of how he wants to handle this increasingly complex dungeon. We have some of our runners in chat discussing if and when they figured out this was single continent. We figured it out here as viewers with the benefit of all 4 screens just a little bit ago. But yeah, we haven't seen a strong indication of one area leading to another here until just a moment ago. So Beta has seen many locations. I've lost track of what he might still have not seen besides diving into the caves, and has seen probably more of the map than any of our other players. Chadbert finds Grave. Will Chadbert explore here at least the top level and find the flute and fighter's ring? Engidave gets sent back home out of a cave complex, out of mountain. Didn't gain a whole lot of information there, except that might be a complex mega dungeon to deal with. Chadbert gets the flute and should be getting the fighter's ring here in a moment. Beta finds tablet. Interesting that it took this long to Beta to find tablet. I had assumed that Beta had seen it already. Engidave had seen it just one screen from home in the southeast. Fortunately for Beta, though, there's no chest at the top and it just dead ends, so nothing lost there. Fortunate for Beta with that location just slightly off screen from start. Engidave is our only player with the Stones of Sunlight. Was that in Hawksness? I think the stones were in Hawksness, and that's where Engidave got the stones and no one else had. Do I have that right, or is Seed Bleed setting in already? Okay, so that is the difference. Beta is Hawksness away from being able to grind and go, or just go and get the levels on the way. And there it is. There's the... Wait! Okay, that was Hawksness. Is Beta gonna stay at an inn or check the chests here? And staying at the inn. Okay. Slamu finds Grave now and is going to pick up Fighter's Ring and Fairy Flute. So everyone's done that relevant part of Top Grave. Beta now has Hawksness in his sights. We'll see Beta likely take down the Armor Knight unless something tragic happens. We know he has Hurt More, but that's mitigated by Erdrick's armor. Has all the HP, Heal Mores and Hurt Mores. Should not be a problem. And Beta picks up the Stones of Sunlight. Chadbert, catching up on the experience, just hit level 15, so is technically at the same level as Beta and Engidave, although Engidave is halfway to 16 and Beta is on the cusp of 16. Ooh, there's our information on the Armor Knight that we have here as viewers. 50% stop spell, 25% hurt more. So this for 133 experience, which rolled down, Beta's saying, you know what, this is good enough. I'm not going to deal with encounter luck. I'm not going to deal with Drakey's running away from me. I'll just sit here. I'm close enough to the level. knock out a couple more armor knights and assess the situation. Okay, Engidave comes out of Garenham there. Beta takes a death after not quite getting level 15. It's going to trade in the rainbow drop. I assume reset save point somewhere or just roll with it since Sharlock is somewhat close to home. Stocking up on keys, which can help with going in Sharlock and having to open those doors. You're not going to be burning Hurtmoors. You might not have to rely on the Sharlock Inn or gain the level if you can quickly get through Sharlock relying on keys instead of burning 5 magic for every Hurtmoor door. Okay, Rainbow Drop acquired for Beta. Coming back into Tantagel. Gonna set up the save point. Okay, that makes sense. Gonna save up the save point here in Tantagel, so after defeating the Dragon Lord, he can just cast Return and end up right back at home. I didn't see what took Chadbert down, but just took a death to come back home. Engidave, continuing exploration out on the overworld. Slamu is now starting to traverse Mountain Cave. I think the only thing of value that could potentially be in here that we haven't seen is Death Necklace. So where are we at? Slamu needs the Stones of Sunlight, which is in Hawksness. Engidave needs the Silver Harp and Erdrick's Armor, which are in Cantlin. So that's a big need for Engidave. Beta's going to be our first player in Sharlock at 35.5 minutes. Going to check the right staircase first. I think one of these towns is going to be Cantlin for Engidave. Doesn't have the harp yet, but I think Cantlin is right next door, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the right staircase for Beta there goes right into a Sharlock floor. Ooh, and into the grave too. Yikes. Will Beta continue to explore here or reset and check one of the other paths? Engidave finally finds Cantlin, which is going to give him the harp immediately here and coordinates to potentially count armor. So Engidave has a clear path to having all of the items. And there we go. The bottom left staircase in Grave 2 leads us to the bottom of Sharlock, which at minimum is accessible by the right side staircase. Possibly some of the other sides, if it all connects with each other. We don't have that information. Beta says, not relevant to me. Sharlock in. Let's take a shot at this. 135 attack power, 127 hit points, 12 heal mores. Shouldn't be a problem. This should be a smooth fight for Beta as long as there's no resources lost along the way. Wow. Interesting, Slamu still at 10,600 experience, has gained minimal experience since the initial grind at the very beginning of the game. If you remember, Slamu stuck at home until level 16, and then has been exploring since then. Engidave picks up coordinates information, which we know will lead him to Erdrick's Armor. I know Chadbert at least needs Hawksness for Silver Harp. I think that's the only location that Chadbert needs yet. Looks like a blue dragon on the spike for one experience. Ha! Gee, thanks, blue dragon. Okay, so here we go. Beta is entering the DL1 fight, 38.5 minutes. Didn't lose any resources along the way, so again, should be in pretty solid position here to finish off the Dragon Lord. Is going to use herbs to get into the DL2 fight in a more comfortable position. We know that there's no one else near finishing, so this is the best approach for Beta here. Of course, in a live race, you don't know where and what position your other players are at, so quick decision, do I use the herbs to get myself into the best possible spot for the DL2 fight with not borderline go stats, but if you can help yourself by not burning a first turn heal more if you get back attacked, that definitely helps. Looks like Engidave is trying to search the... He did a search, looking... Might have just been a... Yeah, looking for Erdrick's armor. Something went wrong on the coordinates count. I think he's close from what I remember. Something went wrong with the coordinates count. Meanwhile, Beta's DL2 fight seems to be going just fine for him. That 8 isn't much to celebrate, though, but gets a double out of it, and that's what you can bank on with 127 hit points. Get at least one or two doubles would be the expectation with 127. That 15's a good swing. Slamu finds Breckenary. It's not a winner-take-all race, so as Beta finishes off DL2, set his return point to Tantagel. Didn't rescue the princess. We're going to have a 41-minute time, give or take a few seconds here from Beta. Wow, I think this is, so far from we've seen, the fastest finish of a Week 5 race. Get your GGs out for Beta Kappa Omega Strep. Earning 5 points here in Winter League, stamping his spot here in the playoffs into Week 6. Congratulations or condolences. Choose your response. Well done, Beta. Meanwhile, we still have 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place up for grabs. Slamu now finds Hawksness, which is where he'll find Stones of Sunlight. That's the location that Chadbert needs to find. And now it seems since Engidave is no longer taking damage on the swamp tiles, Engidave did figure out what went wrong with the coordinates count, picked up Erdrick's armor, and should be ready to do his trade-ins, I think. Is going through Swamp Cave, must not realize that this is First Continent and how this connects, or maybe it's just faster to go through Swamp Cave. Not sure where his return point went. So the 2nd place finisher here between Slamu, Chadbert, and Engidave will put that person into a position to at least guarantee a tiebreaker race at, if it's 15 points between Chadbert and Engidave, or if Slamu finishes in 2nd place and gets those 3 points, that would lock Slamu in for playoffs as well. Engidave does the trade-in for the Silver Harp. Joining Slamu here back at home to trade in for the Rainbow Drop. Slamu was able to go from Hawksness directly back to Tantajo since he already traded in for the Staff of Rain. Okay, so we have Rainbow Drop pickups between Slamu and Engidave, a mere 20-30 seconds apart from each other. Engidave is going to be grinding here for a moment, just for another enemy at, well, hopefully not too many enemies if they're not all Badget Drakies, up to level 16. Meanwhile, Slamu got up to level 16, like, forever ago, makes his way to Sharlock, hits the Rainbow Drop, and is going to the left. Now remember, Beta went to the right, and through a couple of different floors was able to get to Grave 2, and the bottom left corner of Grave 2 is the path to the basement. What we don't know is whether the left staircase or the staircase behind the throne will take us there as well. Chadbert is in Mountain Cave and is clearing or just cleared Mountain. Nope, going for the other staircase. So Chadbert is going to spend a little bit more time here in Mountain Cave when we know that he needs to find Hawksness for the stones. Engidave goes to the right. Right is right. Slamu going around the U. Which, no, that's not the U. That's, oh, that's great. That's the floor with Grave 4 chests. Oh, that's a long walk around. To walk around that entire floor for one staircase, and it's a dead end. Okay, and Slamu outsides. I think that's the right choice there. That's a long walk to go all the way around. Even if you want to go back that same path outside and start over, which he does not. He goes to the right. Will this be the difference maker? How quickly can Engidave, who's now in Grave 2, goes up to the top? That's going to be a transport. Oh, the suspense. Who will find their way to the bottom of Sharlock first, Slamu or Engidave? Engidave was the player first to push out Exploration. Slamu was the last player to push out Exploration, stayed at home and grinded longer. Slamu is there. He's at Grave 2. Will he go up or to the left? He goes up just the same as Engidave did. Engidave goes through the straightaway in Sharlock. Okay, Engidave is in the top left and is now going to the bottom. Engidave is going to hit the bottom floor of Sharlock. At 95 MP is going to stay at the inn. And with 91 HP, I wonder if Slamu would do the same if he popped out there as well. We won't know at this point as he goes through the Sharlock Basement 2 zigzag room. Across the straightaway. Golem stopping Engidave. Chadbert desperately searching for Hawksness. Desperately searching for Hawksness for his stones. Okay, Slamu is going the correct direction. And pops in the basement as well. Will Slamu stay at the inn? Yes. Okay. So that's a bit, not of an equalizer, but same pathway where there's not a time game or an extra gamble taken there. Stone Man giving Engidave a little bit of trouble. Smartly uses a heal spell because of that extra MP buffer. It has 5 MP between that and losing to heal more. Oh, another Stone Man blocks his path. Slamu coming around out of the Sharlock Inn. Engidave is on the Blue Dragon Sharlock Spike. Slamu gets away from Stone Man first attempt. Gets away from that Stone Man first attempt. Stone Man being a little bit more cooperative for Slamu. It feels like there's enough of a difference here in the gap between Engidave, even though Engidave burning through herbs now to heal up after that. It gets a green dragon Okay, got through, and is going to be the first onto the Dragon Lord fight between Engidave and Slamoo. Slamoo on the blue dragon spike, so what, probably 30 seconds difference between them? Another tight finish here. There could be a bit of volatility with this Dragon Lord fight. Engidave gets through it pretty quickly, enters the Dragon Lord fight with 75 HP, did not have herbs, does not get back attacked. First shot there from Engidave was a 10. Second is an 11. Double digits aren't bad. You'd like a little bit higher double digits with 135 attack power like that 14. Slamoo is slowed down a bit in the DL1 fight using herbs. I think that was a double herb, yeah. So all else being equal, Engidave is gaining a little bit of time additionally on top of Slamoo just because of the Dragon Lord 1 fight taking a bit longer for Slamoo. There's a 15 from Engidave. I haven't been counting. Got a double, so he should be free and clear to finish this off, barring a missed menu. Slamoo lands a 15, so that's a good start for his Dragon Lord fight. $16 for Engidave, lands a double. 13 should be getting close. And there it is. Get your GGs out in chat for Engidave. Now the save point. Did Engidave save back at Tantagel and or not save anywhere else? The answer is yes. Return immediately takes Engidave back home. We'll get an official time here in just a moment as he talks to the king. Also did not rescue and turn in Gwalen. So official second place finish for Engidave, earning those 3 points up to 15 total here in Winter League. Engidave guarantees a spot for at least a tiebreaker race into the playoffs. Slamoo working on the Dragon Lord fight and finishes it off himself. Get your GGs out for Big Slamoo. Will Slamoo return back to Tantagel? No. Back to Breckenary. Okay, so Slamoo's got a little bit of a walk, but it looks like Chadbert still has not found Hawksness. Oh no. So, little extra 20-second walk here for Slamoo. Clearly not enough to give Chadbert a shot, even if he stumbled onto Hawksness right now. So third place finish for Big Slamoo earns Slamoo 2 points, bringing Slamoo's total, once Gwalen is so happy. But thou must. Oh, Slamoo playing with fire. He has no idea how close Chadbert is to finishing. Oh, that's Slamoo. Oh, man. What a character. I love it. So Slamoo earns 2 points, bringing his Winter League total from 13 to 15. Engidave and Slamoo are both at 15 points, locking in their spots for at least a tiebreaker race to get into the playoffs. Chadbert sees everyone else finishes, has no idea where Hawksness is, unfortunately. Map Monster got the best of Chadbert in this one. Get some GGs out for Chadbert as well. A great effort here in this race and a great overall Winter League. Chadbert's going to finish with 13 points. And let's take a peek at the Dragon Lord on the lower end of hit point range, 152. Great job by all 4 of our runners. The competition has just gotten so tight here as Winter League has progressed with all these week 5 races. This was Group 4. We have 3 players locking in at least for a tiebreaker shot here into the Winter League playoffs. We have 37 competitors. 16 of them are going to make playoffs. We have some more punching in their spots one by one. Slamu, Beta, and Engidave at least getting themselves a shot at a tiebreaker. Beta locking in 100% into the playoffs with his first place finish here. Pretty fast seed. Everyone finished, who completed the seed by 52 minutes. That's pretty impressive. This went very quickly. Again, bit of a divergence here. Engidave first to explore. Slamu stayed back home longest and grinded. Beta kind of went a little bit in between, waited longer than Engidave, waited for Hurt more to get into doors and take down enemies more easily, and really handled the exploration well, didn't get stuck too long into caves. I don't think Beta even saw Mountain Cave, which ended up being a time sink in this seed. Impressive. I want to thank my fellow volunteers for this race this afternoon, Valev for restreaming all of our races today. Much appreciated, giving us the opportunity to see all this Dragon Warrior Randomizer action. Our trackers, Engidave, who is also one of our participants in this async, and Shahali, thanks so much for volunteering your time. We will have one more race on the docket this afternoon, which is going to follow here in just a couple of minutes to give us a chance to set up and switch over our volunteer crew. We're going to see another 4-player race from Group 6, which is a winner-takes-all race, where the winner of that race locks in a spot into the playoffs, and the other 3 will have their Winter League come to an end. High stakes, high drama. See if we have just an exciting event here as this race has been, and our prior 2 races. I'm Destiny of a Dragon Warrior. I want to thank you all for watching. Stick around for the next race to start in just a couple of minutes. And then tomorrow we'll have additional vodcasts of Group 8, Group 9, and a reveal show around 8 p.m. Eastern for Week 5 wrap-up and Week 6 playoff reveal. I think that covers everything and then some. Thanks, everyone. Stick around for the next race.